This video contains information that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are a viewer and are triggered or shocked by images and need a warning prior to every clip or story being discussed, then please unsubscribe from my channel immediately. My channel covers the harsh reality of even the worst crimes imaginable and is for adults only. For those of you who fit into this category, take this message as your warning and don't watch any further. Slow show.
Yeah! Doing a slow show. Don't you know? It won't blow.
Okay. Back to normal. Back to normal. Hey, where's me? Where's me? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Hey, oh, guess what? It's not on rewind. It's not on rewind. It's not on rewind. It's not on rewind. I might try an experiment here in the next few days. Yeah. Yeah, might give it a shot here in the next couple days. We don't know. Chris Watts. Will he serve in the same jail cell as... Yeah. How about this? We'll do it from the angle of ancient aliens. If Barry Morphew is a suspect, and if being a suspect, they get enough evidence and arrest him, and if he's arrested and then convicted, will he serve time in prison and be bunkmates with Chris Watts? Is Letitia Stout going to be in that prison? Wow! Okay. So we might have to try something with that pretty soon. See how many viewers I can get. You know, I want to try some subscriber mining. Seems to be all the rage these days. All the rage. Oh boy. Hey, thanks, Swerves. Now, so I've got 5 cold cases here. I don't know how long it's going to be. There's not like a, you know, we're not tons and tons of info on all of them. Yes, remote viewing with Major Ed Dames. Yeah, I can remote. Listen, what one of us can't remote view, right? We all have phones. Somebody could turn on their phone and live stream. It works. It's amazing. Yeah, that is a problem. I don't have hair like that. I don't even know. I didn't even know he had a name. I just see him as the Ancient Aliens guy. Thanks, Lee Dobby. Yeah, that's the classic YouTuber phenomena. What they do on Ancient Aliens is exactly what a lot of the wild speculator, sensationalistic YouTube channels do. They start off like, I mean, this is what they do on Ancient Aliens. I've told you guys this before, but go watch it just for 5 minutes. This is what they do. It's like this. If that circular stone is if that circular stone is a code to the mysteries of life, and if that stone was put here by aliens, and if those aliens were here 2,000 years ago, then isn't it possible that, oh God, yeah, I guess, I mean, it's possible, 1 in 75 trillion, we'll give you that one. It was funny, one thing that was funny in the Morphew case, that guy that was at the hotel, that was the one part that made me laugh. When he brought up aliens, he goes, well, unless she was abducted by aliens, and, well, I mean, that's not very likely. Wow, really? Whoa, wow, you gave it a little bit of a thought there. Like, he kind of glanced away and gave it a little bit of credibility. Now, I believe that there is life on other planets, and I think it's possible that they've been here. But I think the odds of it actually being involved in an abduction related to a missing persons case is literally like 1 in 65 trillion, all right? If that good. Yeah, that's right, Lizard Eyes story. I wonder if there's any, how many people are watching right now? 40? Because I didn't put Morphew. Okay, hold on. Let me change the title. I'm going to change it to not talking about the Morphews, and that should do it. Now she's right up there as Kubi. Her name is Kubi now. Yeah, the Lizard Eye story. I'll have to tell it again when there's like 600 people watching. The man with no game. Gray Hughes. Yeah, I kind of liked Christina Kubitschek. It sounded like a hockey name. It was kind of cool, Now it's just Kubi. Sort of like a little cub friend. Yeah. Oh yeah, Cairo helped make he made it. He didn't help make anything. A website. So I'm just trying to get it all built up because he built one for himself, and then I said, "Hey, make me one." He goes, "All right." Just whipped it out like making pancakes. But we're doing it for a particular reason. We're gonna be official, man. Like a new, like be able to. It'll be cool. It'll be sweet. Although I still can't see the image on the first page all the way. I don't know. Have to figure that one out. Oh yeah, the Hayama shirt. I don't know. I haven't seen Jenny Penny in a while. She'd probably like the Hayama shirt. She probably didn't like my politics. It tends to make people angry. She's still missing, Kubi. It's amazing. She's still missing. Alert, alert. She's still missing. We were able to examine the fecal matter in all the toilets in the house recently, and it turns out that an extraordinary amount of spinach has been being eaten. News at 11. Back to you, Jim. Yeah. You know what I almost hope right now is that I actually here's what's sad is I don't even know what's going on in that case at all. I would love it if Barry was innocent. That would actually make me happy. Because that means there's one less barbarian out there that seemed like he was. I guess there'd still be a barbarian if she's missing. But it would also absolutely disprove about 60 channels who spend every day saying that. I don't know. He's done things that I thought were suspicious. That's it. I can't tell you that he did it. There's absolutely no evidence in the case pointing to anything. Yes, and did he work for Anadarko Oil in his past? I'm just not sure at this point. Yeah, but here the thing is if you're going to make a channel that's just pro Barry and just like, oh, he's the greatest and making excuses for every anomaly, then you're an idiot too. Okay, what you got to do is just look at the facts in the case, and if it starts leading in a direction, you might look at that, but you always got to, until something is just boom, that's when you don't do it, right? Now, that's what we try to avoid here. That's for damn sure. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, except my channel, right? Yeah. I think it does. Yeah. I know. Yeah, there's some strangeness with that individual. I don't know what's going on in that brain. It was some weird stuff. And thanks, Zozo. God. Sent me one link and I went down a rabbit hole and I just couldn't believe what I was listening to. Unbelievable. That's like 10 demerits, okay? Oh yeah, I know which one. But it works for him, you know? It works. That was just a channel, crazy thoughts, you know. One of them was, they were so angry at the screen because the lead story on the local Fox channel, but she called it Fox News, she was so angry that they didn't lead with a Morphew story. Like it was some intentional thing. Listen, believe it or not, everybody isn't focused on Morphew 24/7. It's amazing. Except there are a bunch of people in the YouTube social media atmosphere that think it's the greatest case in the history of mankind. Now, I thought she was kidding around. I actually commented in there. I said, hey, are you... I go, I get it now. This is just sarcasm. You're playing on how the news will just... like you're pretending to be one of the weirdos out there that really just want to see it every second. And I thought, I started laughing. I get it now, man. I get it. And then I was called a troll because it literally was serious. Wow. Man, I was so confused at that point. It was unbelievable. But anyways, that's life. Yeah, that's some scary shit, really. Yeah. All right, so here I'm going to get to the... let's start doing the cases now, but I'm going to go get myself a bottle of Gatorade that I forgot to get. Yeah. Yep, grape Gatorade. You got it. You got it. With the very easy to use smaller bottle. Okay. Wait, I don't work for them. Shit. Screw it. Come on, Gatorade. Throw me a couple dollars, all right? Us YouTubers need to stay hydrated. What exactly is this case in synopsis? I don't know what you're talking about, Tammy. What exactly are you trying to figure out? We haven't even started talking about it yet. I'm waiting for the people to come from the Morphew case. And, oh, wait, that'll never happen. What exactly is this case and the synopsis? Yes, you'll be presenting tonight at the university. As a matter of fact, we are going to have you into the classroom to present the synopsis a little bit later. Yeah, what it is there are 5 cold cases in Missouri that were associated with each other, perhaps, but I don't think one of them is. Okay? So right now we're going to switch over to that, and we'll get going on the cases, and you'll have to listen to the entire case so that you'll actually be able to write the synopsis, which I want promptly sent to me in the morning of all 5 cases. Double spaced, typed neatly, and sent to my email address. And if I don't get it, by God, you're blocked. And for those idiots that thought I was being serious, that was a joke. Okay? Whew, wow. Hey, thanks, Claudia Neubauer and Allie Cake. Make sure that one of you writes down the synopsis of each case and then go ahead and send it off to whoever the hell that was. Tammy Bennett up there. Make sure she gets a copy of it. Okay, because by God, there's got to be a synopsis of each case on the video itself, or they get really frustrated. All right, the first case we're going to be talking about is Kathryn Cochran. Yeah, I will. I will keep milking it, Tammy, because it's comments like yours that, you know, they're just ludicrous. Okay, it's people like you, not the comment. Now, not meat enough? Let me see. How do I do it? Here we go.
Gray, you're so mean. Wow, you're so mean. Hey, look at that. Rebecca just sent me to jail, and I was already in jail. What the hell is he talking about?
Yep. That's an early send to jail there. Darn it. Wow. Well, that's what I'm saying. I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah. Yeah. I'll send my notes a little bit later there to you. What exactly is this case and the synopsis of it? Okay. Yeah. Wow, I'm going to stand here for a long time. Hey, no, Mysterious Monkey sent some. Oh, look at that Carolina tea. She's the one that came up with that cool, I think it's, was that watercolor? Or, yeah, watercolor, right? Here, I got it right here. Look at this. Watch this. Out of jail now. Look at that. There's Carolina T's background. With, well, I can't put my arm in front of him. But there's Blue and then Chloe. So thank you, Little Andy, Miss Skiss, Billy Boy Blue, Rebecca N, and Michelle Nicholas. I cut off the screen there. Carolina T and Mysterious Monkey. And but Zozo started off with Not for Bail. That's so mean. So thanks, Bennett. I appreciate it. Oh yeah? It looks like it could be like crayon too, a little bit. But I made some layers on it. What I should do is animate blue and have him kind of cross the screen. Or maybe I'll, have him lick my face like, ah. Okay. So we had to take a little hiatus there for a minute. I was trying to see if I could find the synopsis, but never did. All right, the first case I'm going to be talking about is Kathryn Cochran. She was 26. This is in 1989 in Oklahoma. All right. And it says authorities identify woman's remains. I couldn't find the original finding part. No, I'm not going to spell it. I just want to be able to do it without people looking up stuff on the side. But you can see it on the screen. I always can't stand it when people look stuff up and then blurt stuff out in the chat. Yeah, these are the cold cases in Missouri. Lisa Irwin. And Kubi, thank you. Yeah, well, it's different than the normal Kathryn. They actually spelled it wrong on some articles. So she's like, one article had it spelled with a C, and then later it's got the K, Kathryn. Okay, great. A woman whose body was found near Stroud early Saturday has been identified as Kathryn L. Cochran, 36, of Oklahoma City. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation said Tuesday. She was reported missing by her family Friday night, said Paul Renfro, OSBI spokesman. She apparently had been strangled. He said the identification was made through dental records. The body was found about 6 miles north of Stroud. Renfro said her car was missing. We have no suspect or motive at this time. And that was, I think there might have been a reference to when she was found, but all right. The murder victim went to Tulsa on a business trip. An Oklahoma City woman. Let me turn this music down a little bit, lest I hear the complaints. An Oklahoma City woman whose body was found along a rural Lincoln County road Saturday was in Tulsa on business several hours before she disappeared, officials said Wednesday. Hey, thanks, Mike S. Authorities said Kathryn L. Cochran, 36, was strangled, and her body was discovered along State Highway 99 about 6 miles north of Stroud by a passerby early Saturday. She was reported missing late Friday by her husband Gilbert Demiville. Apparently, she was in Tulsa checking on clients and was way overdue when her family reported her missing, said Paul Renfro, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation spokesman. Her family last heard from her sometime Friday evening. Cochran was a territorial manager for Red Book Floral Service. OSBI agents are still searching for clues that will lead them to the killer. This is a real whodunit, Renfro said. We have no suspects or motive. There are several hours that are unaccounted for Friday night, and we're backtracking into Friday to find out what happened. Renfro said authorities are not ruling out the chance Cochran was kidnapped, taken to the area where her body was found, and killed. Was she abducted? Did she pick up a hitchhiker? That's what we're trying to find out. We have several good, strong leads that we're checking out. Authorities are still looking for Cochran's car, which has been missing since she disappeared Friday. Renfro said authorities were able to identify Cochran as the dead woman through dental records. All right, that was, so the first one was May 31st, then that was June 1st, the next day, then the next day after that, June 2nd. You always find that there's a lot of stories really quickly, then you start finding one a month, and then one a year, and then they're gone. So slain woman's car is still missing, and that's kind of how you would predict it, too. You don't have any sound? Okay, Jesus. Authorities are still searching for the car that belonged to an Oklahoma City woman who was found strangled along a rural Lincoln County road, Saturday, officials said. The car that belonged to Kathryn Cochran, 36, is described as a 1987 pink and burgundy two-door Chrysler LeBaron. The license tag number is YBD 230, said Paul Renfro, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation spokesperson. Renfro said the car is equipped with citizen band radio antenna and has minor damage. Wait, did they find the car? Oh, wait, no, they were just saying it. Has minor damage to the driver's door. Anyone with information about the car should call Lincoln County Sheriff Department. And then Cochran was reported missing May 26th by her husband when she failed to return home from a business trip to Tulsa. Authorities have no motive or suspects in the killing, Renfro said. Okay, then 3 days later, strangled woman's body found. Now, this doesn't make any sense right here. Strangled woman's body found in car. Well, maybe. Well, I guess maybe if that's where she was found in another car. But a car belonging to an Oklahoma City businesswoman found dead along a rural Lincoln County road has been discovered in a grocery store parking lot in Tulsa. So the car was found. Initial reports are that the car discovered Sunday afternoon had been in a lot for about a week. Yep. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is looking for clues in the death of Kathryn Cochran, 36, whose body was found May 27th near Stroud. So her body was found. The car was found somewhere else. But look at the title. That's just absolute clickbait. Even back then, 1989. I mean, no, the strangled woman's body wasn't found in her car. Now, maybe she was found wherever she was found in some kind of broken down car somewhere. I don't know. They don't really say that. A Tulsa woman noted the car in the parking lot after leaving. After she read a newspaper story describing the missing vehicle. That's the one that was found at the grocery store. Yeah, so here's how it works. The car was actually found at a grocery store right here. It doesn't have the same name anymore, so it's one of these. That's where the car was found. And then her body was found all the way over here. And a later article, much later, said it was 5 miles from Stroud and a few hundred feet off the road. So I'm guessing it could be either side, actually. I don't know. I'm just putting a pin here because there's more woods. Okay, so it was a few hundred feet out in that direction. So if you were in this area and you were just, out there somewhere, maybe. Yeah, whenever they say 5 miles, who knows? What it could be 5.2, could be. So you're never exactly sure on that kind of stuff. All right, then 2 weeks after that, 3 weeks later. So 3 men wanted for questioning in Tulsa slang. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is seeking the public's help in finding 3 men wanted for questioning in the death of an Oklahoma City businesswoman. State investigators released composite drawings Wednesday of 3 men seen near the slain woman's car at a Tulsa grocery store. The body of Kathryn L. Cochran, 36. I sort of wonder if there was like this group. Because, even in the case that we talked about with Carol Blades, the one where Zozo said he got out of the right, the passenger side. Well, that could mean that somebody else was driving, and there was other people that thought that somebody was driving in that one. But that was 1969, so I don't know. I don't know if those could be related. I mean, that's 20 years. Unless they were, 20 years old at the time, and they're only 40, and they're still doing the same crap later. I don't know. Several days after her body was found on Oklahoma 99, 6 miles north of Stroud, her missing 1987 pink and burgundy Chrysler LeBaron was found. That one article title was so off. In a grocery store parking lot at 51st Street and Harvard Avenue. And if you want to know the miles, I'll give you the, as a crow flies. It looks like it's going to be like 40. 44.04. So that was 51st Street and Harvard Avenue. That's Harvard. And that's 51st Street. So just one of the, you know, I don't know if it's this one. It's just in that area. It used to be called something totally different than the store title doesn't exist anymore. Witnesses say they saw 2 or 3 men around the victim's car several days after the killing. One man is described as white, 30 to 35 years old, between 5'5" and 5'7". Man, that's a shot in the dark, you know. The second man is between 20 and 25 years old, 5'8", 150 pounds, and has blonde hair and slender build. Witnesses described a third man, who OSBI spokesman Paul Renfro said may be the same man. Renfro said anyone with information may contact the OSBI. Okay. So then, let me get to that case again. That was June 29th. Then we have one from 1990, January 4th. The weekend abduction of 2 women, which came about 1.5 months after the body of a 24-year-old woman was found floating in Sahoma Lake, has caused authorities to examine apparent similarities in a number of recent cases. No charges have been filed in the abduction, but police have said they are searching for Johnny David Washington, 29, of Sapulpa for questioning. Police said Washington was identified through his driver's license by 2 women he allegedly tried to abduct Friday night near Sapulpa. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is looking into similarities between the abductions and the strangulation of Michelle Hagmeister, whose body was found November 17th. I mean, I have never seen more missing. This time frame that we're looking at here, it's just incredible. I mean, you're not even scratching the surface. There's like 20 people. OSBI spokesman Paul Renfro said Washington also is wanted for questioning in the death of Kathryn L. Cochran. See, again, authorities said Cochran was a territorial manager for a floral. Let's check this guy. Who is this guy? David Washington, 29. Let me just do a. Unfortunately, that's a pretty common name. Let's see what happens. This is in Oklahoma, right? Let me just see if he shows up anywhere. David Washington. Wait. Oh, that's something totally, that's a sport related. Yeah, let me try 2000. Yeah, it looks like it's all sports, and it's hard to, that's what's hard sometimes when you got somebody that's so common like that. If you had the middle name, it might work, but. Okay, so then I found this article from 1989, June 5th, but it was on Google. Google search. So this has a lot more information. The car of a slain Oklahoma City woman was found in the parking lot of a South Tulsa shopping center by a citizen who remembered the car's description in a newspaper article, investors say. Hey, I was thinking about you, Jamie. I was wondering how that was going. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, thanks, Jamie. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Like for yesterday, I was thinking, man, I mean, I've got problems moving my arm around, but I can at least move it a little bit. And I was just thinking, man, that must just be awful. I don't have time for somebody to test out their ability to type emojis on this channel. And that was a cat eye donation that would have went, you know. Okay, so here we go. The car of a slain Oklahoma City woman was found in the parking lot of a South Tulsa shopping center by a citizen who remembered the car's description in a newspaper article. Paul Renfro, spokesman for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, said the car of Kathryn L. Cochran, 36, was found in the parking lot of Skaggs Alpha Beta. I mean, that store, that doesn't even exist right now. Near 51st and Harvard Avenue about 6 p.m. Sunday. Cochran, who had been strangled, was discovered May 27th, about 6 a.m., several hundred yards off Oklahoma 99, 5 miles north of Stroud, in the northeast corner of Lincoln County, Renfro said. See how that one said, discovered about 27, about several hundred yards off Oklahoma 99, 5 miles north of Stroud. So I went 5 miles and then a few hundred yards, but I don't know what side it was going to be on. Lincoln County Undersheriff Jack Cook said Cochran, a territorial manager of Red Book Flora Service, was in Tulsa on business the day before her body was found. Investigators say evidence suggests Cochran died somewhere else and her body was dumped near Stroud. No motive was given for the killing. The body was partially clothed and, well, the motive was, just rape and killing, that's what the motive is. The body was partially clothed and tests were conducted to see if Cochran was raped. Cochran appeared to be strangled with an object, but could not elaborate. He said Cochran phoned home about 5:30 p.m. from Tulsa the day before her body was found. She had called in and said she was coming home, Cook said. The family reported her missing to Oklahoma City police about midnight. Cook said Cochran had worked for the florist company for 5 years and was visiting several floral shops the last day she was seen. He said Cochran went to stores in Perkins, Cushing, and Drumright that same day. We don't know exactly what her route was, but she ended her route in Tulsa or Sand Springs, he said. Cook said Cochran was dressed in red and wore a sleeveless jacket. On Sunday, state investigators, Cook and Oklahoma City detectives inspected Cochran's car, lifting fingerprints and searching for clues, he said. They will interview employees and customers about the length of time the car was parked near the grocery store. Renfro said the car was found after a Tulsa woman reported reading about the car's description in a Tulsa newspaper and then seeing it in the parking lot. Cochran's car was described as pink with a maroon stripe along the bottom. As far as a major clue found in the car, I'm not aware of anything right now, Renfro said. Renfro said 3 investigators are working on the case and encouraged anyone with information about the car or where Cochran was last seen to phone authorities. It's hard to explain. Hopefully they have DNA in this one. It's hard to explain at this point, he said, about where Cochran disappeared. The case is very active with a lot of leads. Cook said Cochran talked often on her Citizen band radio, and Art Bell used to have one of those, and had the radio handle of, or code name of, Soft and Cuddly. He said Cochran possibly talked on her radio between 3:30 p.m. and midnight on May 26, and that anyone who spoke with her could also give investigators clues. Cochran is survived by two daughters, aged 14 and 18, said Cook. Hey, thanks, Dana Dane. Does it pop up on there when you're just, it's just renewing automatically? Or is that like when you, because it's strange how it says, oh, you're a new member, but you're a 4.3 light. That means you've been on here for a while. How does that work? Can you guys see that? Did you just now like re-up it yourself, or does it do it automatically and then show up in the chat? Well, thanks, Jamie. I'm sorry you're having to go through that. That's a freaking nightmare. Oh, cool. Well, at least they remembered who you were, because now you didn't have to start over as a, whatever it starts. What is it? A 2.2 dark or light or whatever the hell it is. Yeah. Yeah. And this is her right here. That's a picture of her. So that's that case. It's still not solved after all these years. 31 years later, and it's still just cold. I'm hoping, though. It sounds, I mean, here's something sad to say. But in reality, in some of these old cases, if they're going to be murdered, in some way you sort of hope there was an assault, a sexual assault, that they left their DNA behind, because those people will be caught now. But if there wasn't anything like that, I mean, I don't know how you would ever tie that case to to her. You get what I'm saying? There's no way you could ever tie the case at all, unless there was some other way DNA was stored. Although this, it sucks to say that, but it does actually give you a chance to solve it later. You guys must be way behind me again. I don't have rewind on, do I? Yes, hit that like button, everybody. Do what Mag said. Yeah, that just doesn't, that's not as common whatsoever, though. That's why I said, or they found it another way. It's just, usually it's through a good medical examiner storing genetic material that was deposited by the rapist that leads them back. Oh, come on. No fingernail clippings. Nah, I don't agree. Yes, you might be able to do fingernail clippings. They do that sometimes, I'm just saying, every single time there's a sexual assault, these guys weren't wearing condoms, okay? Hey, thank you. Be serene. Yeah, I don't know if she had fingernail clippings, okay? I don't know. But in some ways, the sexual assault, as horrible as it was at the time, at least it left genetic material that eventually will be the downfall of the barbarians, right? So hopefully that made sense. I don't want to sound like, oh, wait, I'm so glad that they, you know. Because you know how trolls take shit like that. Man, you guys aren't typing very fast. It's like the slowest typing I've ever seen. Wait, maybe I need to put it on live chat. Maybe that's it. I know. It's just so much waiting around, so much anger. It's horrible. I don't know if there's DNA in this case. I just think it said that she wasn't fully clothed, and that makes me think she was assaulted, and therefore hopefully the medical examiner stored it, and they're just getting around to solving these kind of cases. Or this case. Alright, so I'm going to move on to the next one now. The next one was weird because it's a very common name, Pam Miller. So I looked it up on Google. I found this one, but then another one came up and it was so close. I mean, it was like the same years, basically, 1 year prior, so I wasn't sure if I was on the right one. Similar geographic area. But this individual was killed by a wood chipper. I mean, not killed that way. It was just absolutely brutal what was done to this other Pam Miller. So the Pam Miller we're talking about isn't the one that I stumbled upon and thought it was the same one and kept reading and reading and reading. Man, it was freaking god awful. What the hell happened? Let's see. Okay, so it was some kind of a drug thing going, and they were gonna go kill her, but on the way there, the guy punched her in the face, and then she started back-talking him. Then he reached back and tried to kill her with crushing her trachea, but it didn't kill her. Then he had pulled over the car, and he said, hold her down, and he ran over her head twice with a car, put her, and she still lived, put her in the car. Then he went over, and then he cut her in half into bits with an axe, and then fed her body through a wood chipper. And then when they finally, figured out, got a witness to say, they went out there and they found all these sort of mummified bone part. It was just insane. Okay. So I'm kind of glad. I just told you the whole story, but I'm glad in a way that wasn't it didn't turn out to be this one because it doesn't fit whatsoever. But it was one of the sickest things I've ever seen. So look it up yourself. Pam Miller. The murder of Pam Miller, and then there's two of them, and the other one's like in tech. It's really weird how close everything was, the ages and dates. Okay, so now we're gonna do the real Pam Miller. Okay, this is her, or the other Pam Miller. I don't know if you could say real or not. That's her right there, and this is the the missing person poster. Last seen Monday, May 29th, vicinity of Highway 117 and Gilhunt Road. 23 years old, 5'4", 115 pounds. And there you go. And then this is... I guess that's when she was missing. But there wasn't any articles in the paper at the time. I couldn't find any anyways. It was just, flyers put out. Hunter finds human bones near Fort Polk. A skeleton believed to be female has been found in a wooded area bordering Vernon Parish, where the disappearance of 3 women in 3 years remain unsolved. So here we go. More crazy. There's just all these cases. FBI spokesman Volney Haynes said a skeleton found by hunters in a shallow grave or creek bed on Friday has been sent to an FBI criminal laboratory for identification. The body was found by a hunter who spotted the skull in a creek along the northern boundary of Fort Polk. So this is before her name is mentioned. I just knew where she was found and then tracked back to find the article where a body was found. The body was found by a hunter who spotted the skull in a Creek along the northern boundary of Fort Polk's Peason Ridge Artillery Range. So yeah, so this is the artillery range right here. See, Peason Ridge Wildlife Management Area now, but this used to be, I think, the artillery range. I don't know. I mean, look, there's an airport there. I don't know. I think this might have been an old military base. Not sure it's even there anymore. So I just said her body was found on the northern end of it, which kind of lines up with a highway here that you could pull over. I could be totally in the wrong spot, but it's the only thing that came up at all. The FBI investigating the incident because the body was found on federal property. Peason Ridge encompasses portions of Sabine, Natchitoches, and that's hard to say, and Vernon parishes. Hayes said the body was found in extreme southern Sabine Parish. Well, let's see, where's Sabine Parish? There. Oh, is that the same thing as a county? Over there? Yeah, Sabine, right there. Okay, yeah, so this is the southern end of it right there. Although, it does go even further south this way. Let's see. Peason Ridge Artillery Range. Let me try that again. Yeah, I mean, so that's close. You know, this is the Artillery Road. I don't know. Maybe it was over here even. It's hard to say, but let's just say it's in this area. So you know, it's too hard. They didn't give a street name or anything like that, and we just don't know. But it's out in the middle of nowhere. Let's put it that way. So. Let's see. He would not speculate on the possible connection between the discovery of the body and the disappearances. That has been discussed as a possibility, but only a possibility. All right. So then the next day, authorities trying to link remains and disappearances. In October 1986, 28-year-old Bambi Brantley disappeared without a trace after walking to a convenience store to make a telephone call. I mean, doesn't this sound like some of these other ones? In May 1989, 23-year-old Pamela Miller, that's a person that's missing. And so at this point they haven't linked it, but that is who it is. 1989, 23-year-old Pamela Miller disappeared. Her car was found near the home of her boyfriend just off of Kirthwood Road north of Leesville. Let's see. Kirthwood Road. There. So we'll just put a general pin. I think I already did it. Yeah, right there. So she was right here, and she was last seen at this convenience store here making a telephone call. So apparently the boyfriend lives pretty close to here. Hey, thanks, Wally Gator. The woman, both slim blondes, were newcomers to Leesville, so they were both slim and blonde. A third woman, Karen Hill, 21, disappeared from a convenience store near Fort Polk last November, but her body was found hours later in a wooded area about 10 miles away. She had been shot. The case also remains unsolved. You just see how crazy this is, everybody? I mean, these aren't even the ones that we were talking about. Police in June said it was possible there was a connection between the killing and the disappearance of the other two women. Now investigators are wondering if the skeletal remains found at Fort Polk are those of one of the two missing women. Those remains, which were found in a shallow grave on Fort Polk's Peace and Training Ridge. Isn't that weird, though? The other girl we just mentioned was near Fort Polk. So anyways, at this point they're just kind of wondering if the bones are related to these missing people. And body found at Fort Polk identified. Human remains found recently at Fort Polk are those of Pamela Miller, a Leesville resident, who had been missing since May 29th. The FBI established identity through the use of dental records. There is still other lab work being done. Miss Miller, 23, who moved to Leesville from Colorado in November 1988, was last seen late May 29th making a telephone call. So the other Miller case that I just mentioned with the wood chipper was 1988. May 29th making a telephone call at a convenience store at the junction of Louisiana Highway 8 and 117. So there's 117, and 117 goes this way, and that's 8, and that's the convenience store. These aren't stores, those are homes there. Her car was found abandoned about 10 miles northeast of Leesville. Her remains were found recently in a shallow grave in a wooded area near the northern boundary of Peason Ridge Training Area. Authorities say they are still trying to determine whether there is any connection between Miss Miller's disappearance and the disappearance of two other Vernon Parish women. In October 1986, Bambi Brantley, 28, disappeared without a trace. In November 1988, Karen Hill. And this is another one. The remains were identified. Miss Miller, who moved to Leesville from Colorado last November, was seen when she left a Leesville night spot about 11:30 p.m. on May 29th. She was seen about an hour later making a telephone call, so about 12:30 in the morning, at a convenience store. And so this story kind of reminds you of the one we watched, talked about the other day. Remember the girl in the phone booth? And somebody pulls up and grabs her? Miss Miller's sister later reported her missing. Her car was found abandoned about 10 miles northeast of Leesville. Her remains were found recently. Let's see. So if they say northeast, let's see. Let's just go up there. 10 miles northeast. This is Leesville right there. And let's just say in that area. So somewhere around in there is where her car was found, right in here. You know, I don't know how it got there. You know, is it over here exactly? Let's see, that's northeast. I mean, that could even be, let's see, her body was found there. So if I go here, yeah, so here, but look where her body's found. So that means her car was found over in this area, but her body's found way up there. So it makes you think that somebody maybe jumped in her car, and there was another person driving another car, and they did stuff with her there, killed her, and then dumped her body way up here, leaving her car there, and then taking their car and driving her up there. That's what it seems like. Okay, and then 1990... Security tightens at Dallas murder trial. Security was tight Friday as hundreds of potential jurors gathered at a Dallas courthouse for a trial of a man depicted as a dangerous multiple killer. Sheriff deputies say security surrounding the trial of Genaro Ruiz Camacho. See, that's so weird because this guy, I believe, is the one who killed the other Pam Miller, if I'm not mistaken. Can you let me type that in. Hold on a second. Yes, that's that one. Okay, that's her again. I don't know, hold on a second. Yeah, look at A. Camacho, accomplice, led authorities to graves on August 27th, Johnson County, Oklahoma. Authorities then filed the capital murder charges against Camacho in June. Topless dancer Pamela Miller, who's also... Okay, this one's 23 years old. But don't you think that's crazy? I mean, like, that got brought up in the other... Unless that's the wrong... You know, I'm wondering if this isn't even the right Pam Miller in this article. But it was just got so confusing after a while. Because there was two of them around the same time. So this one here probably has the wrong Pam Miller in it. But I think that's how I got led over to the other case. Isn't that crazy, though? Yeah, wood mulcher. Next day, returned to Dallas, rented a wood mulcher, and returned to Erath County, where Miller's body was shredded. One of Camacho's assistants led authorities to those remains in a pasture. I mean, it's just brutal. I actually read the whole thing. It was crazy, but that's a different Pam Miller, okay? So that article doesn't need to be in there. God, I'm not even sure this one's the right. Okay, this one probably is because it's the right state. 2 men convicted of killing a woman and her young son in a Texas abduction connected to a drug transaction. So that is this one. See, isn't that wild? This story is in Louisiana, although it's an AP. But again, I think this story is the other Pam Miller. So apparently, in 1988 or 89, you didn't want your name to be Pam Miller. Okay? Okay, the Vernon Parish Sheriff. This is a 2017 article, so it wasn't solved even then. VPSO is looking into possible leads in the homicide of Pamela Miller, 23, of Leesville, according to a post on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page. Miller is the second case taken by the VPSO team formed to investigate cold cases. I wonder if I could call them. Regarding the second case, Miller's family reported her missing on May 30th, 1989, after she didn't return home from the Instant Replay Lounge in Leesville. Let's see if we got that. But she actually made that phone call, too. Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah, it's probably something totally different now. I wish they would say now they never do that, or rarely, not never. Miller may also have been seen just prior to that at Lebo on Highway 28 using a payphone. I thought it was after that. You guys said it was an hour later she was using that. So these articles are... This is more recent, though, so you might want to go with that. So it sounds like maybe she was on a phone, probably said, hey, where are you guys at? Then went to the bar, and then something happened there. Right? Because it seems like, the later you get in articles, the more accurate the information normally gets later, because they have the more current information. Miller's vehicle was located on May 30th, and recovered by her family members. A hunter discovered Miller's remains in a remote location on Highway 118 in Sabine Parish on November 28. Let's see if I have that even close at all. What highway? Yep, look at that, 118. Boom. Okay. I guess it could be up there too. But that was my guess. Yeah. So that's it for that one. I mean, that's how cold these are, everybody. Absolutely. That's it. So now we're going to move on to Dana Stidham, or Stidham. And that one's in Missouri. The final three are in Missouri. But these are all pretty close geographically. Well, to be fair, Miss Giss, it was a wood mulcher. Okay. Doesn't that sound a little better? Okay. It was a wood mulcher? Okay. I mean, wood chipper, you think differently about it. Yeah, she wasn't still alive when she was chopped up. All of her body parts were chopped up by an axe after being choked, punched in the face, choked, then taken outside the car. The car ran over her head twice. Apparently, she was still alive. Then the axe may have done her in, and then they threw her body into a mulcher. Yeah, this year is pretty messed up. You got that right. Right, so we're going to move over to Dana Stidham. Right there. That's her. And again, 1989. And here's the... I think it's right here. Authorities seek identity of corpse. Authorities are investigating whether skeletal remains discovered by Hunter may have been those of Benton County woman missing since late July. It may be her, but we will not know until after the autopsy. Stidham's car was found on July 26, parked along US 71 north of Bella Vista Town Center, and personal items of the young woman were found nearby, police said. That means she probably got in a scuffle right outside of her car. So apparently this is where her car was found, right around in this area. Nearly all the remains were found by searchers near the intersection of Arkansas 340 and Arkansas 94. Okay, so I'm just showing you that I'm, getting the correct locations here. So there's 94, and let's see. Got to get sometimes the numbers. Yeah, 340 right there. 340 and 94. So 340 comes out, and here's 94, and I'm just picking a wooded area near that intersection. I don't have the exact spot. And she was found there after a squirrel hunter from Rogers reported finding parts of a skeleton on Sunday, which would have been, since this is Tuesday, would have been September 17th, 1989. And she went missing in July. That means, she's been 2 months or so. No matter who it is, you've got a murder, Lee said. Most of the skeleton was found in a dry creek bed about 100 feet from the end of we could probably do it now, of an isolated cul-de-sac. Okay, cool. Let's see where that is. An isolated cul-de-sac. I wonder if that's it right over here. Because that's close, right? And then... creek bed. Like down in here. I mean, that looks like maybe that's a creek bed. See how it's kind of indented. Indented, excuse me. Jesus. Indentated. Wow, that's awful.
I'm just trying to look at this and talk at the same time. So a cul-de-sac, huh? Yeah, I guess it's, you know, who knows? Let's try this. I'm gonna go back in time here. Let's see if I can go to 1990. Come on, is there a 1990? Well, that's 94, so that's close, right? That's kind of a cul-de-sac. Let's see what it looks like at a different time of year when there would be water. Then maybe we could find... There's the dried up creek bed right there. You know, I'm going to say that it's probably... It could be this one right there. But I'm pretty sure that's the dried up creek bed. I mean, I guess there's other things that kind of could be right there, but... That looks like, definitely looks like a creek bed right there. Don't you agree? How about this? I'll just put it in this area. Okay? And there we go. Lee said the buried clothing. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Searchers also found clothing, a t-shirt with duct tape stuck to it, oh boy, along with white sandals, buried in a shallow hole. Also found were 2 items of underclothing. Lee said the buried clothing led him to believe the woman had been killed. Well, yeah. What do you mean? That's the only thing that led you to that? Her car was way over there, 10 miles away, and she's just there magically dead? Man. We found 90% of the skeleton, all the major parts, he said. He said the body was probably buried, but that animals may have dug into the grave, and heavy rain may have washed away the soil, exposing the body. The remains were sent to the state medical examiner's office in Little Rock. An intact skull and separate jaw, including all teeth, were found and were to be compared to dental records in an attempt to identify the body. The medical examiner's office also is to attempt to determine the cause of death, and that's it. This part up here had nothing to do with it. Amazed that I remembered that. Body identified as missing woman. Authorities have positively identified skeletal remains. The state medical examiner's office identified that body as that of Dana Stidham, 18, of Hiwassee, Arkansas. Squirrel hunter discovered the remains in a wooded area northeast of Bella Vista near the Arkansas-Missouri border. Authorities are investigating Stidham's death as a homicide, although the cause of death had not been determined. Okay, now we're moving. This is like 9 months later. Despite a reward of $20,000, Benton County law enforcement officials are still seeking a break in the death of Dana Stidham, a year after she left her parents' home to get a package of Alka-Seltzer. Wow, that's it, huh? I mean, isn't that weird how the most mundane thing, earlier this evening, the first show, the little girl was just going over to drop a birthday card off at a friend's house and gets murdered. This one's going to the store to get a freaking pack of Alka-Seltzer. Today marks a year since she was last seen alive. Her skeletal remains were found September 17th, 1989, in a wooded ravine on the east side of Bella Vista near the intersection of Arkansas Highways 340 and 94. Yeah, see that seems like a ravine right here, doesn't it? Look. That's definitely a ravine. I'm almost positive that she was found right down either that cul-de-sac or this one. Boom. Makes sense. You know, there are other areas, you know, like that looks like a ravine, but I don't see this one has a definite dry creek bed, but I guess there could be one there too. Her skeletal remains were found September 17th. Okay, the state medical examiner listed the cause of death as violent trauma to the neck. Stabbing. Jesus. This has been a real tough case, said Danny Warner, criminal investigator with the Bella Vista branch of the Benton County Sheriff's Office. Detective Mike Sindoriak handled the case for the first 6 months, after which the file was given to Varner. There's no evidence, no leads to go on. We interviewed 37 people under sworn subpoena testimony and talked to hundreds of others. There's just nobody who saw anything or knows anything that helped. Sidoriak, now a process server for the sheriff's office, said he still thinks about the case and visits with Varner. It's incredible. From the time she left the Phillips parking lot until they found the car, it's like she disappeared off the face of the earth. Nobody knows anything, saw anything, or heard anything. With the case now a year old, law officers say the only way the case will be solved is if they get a break. The longer we go, the smaller chances we have of solving the case, said prosecutor David Klinger. But no one on the case has lost hope that it could be solved. He noted that there have been other instances of serious crimes not being solved for a long time, only after a lot of effort and later with some good breaks were those cases solved. We hope that something like that comes along, Klinger says. He noted that a break can come years later. Varner is hoping that publicity might aid in finding someone who visited the area in 1989. And then 6 months later, let's see. I think she was just mentioned in this article. No, that's right. Right, this part right here. So this article had 3 or 4 or 5 cases in it, and so this time this is her portion right here. So Dana Stidham, she was just like sunshine according to her mother, but Dana Stidham last days were clouded. The Bella Vista, Arkansas woman disappeared from her Dodge Omni shortly after 3:30 p.m. on July 25th, 1989. She was last seen driving the car from a supermarket where she bought antacid for her father. Man, see, that's one of those cases where the dad probably kicked himself for the rest of his life. Like, why didn't I go get it? You know? And it's not his fault at all, because what she did was exactly what anybody would do. Right? Are you guys paying attention to what's going on here? Oh boy. So you guys are supposed to be like following along, you know, so maybe you could help out. That's what the whole thing is. You know what I mean? I mean, man, I'm gonna make I'm gonna take your images of your faces, and I'm gonna throw you in jail, and then I'm gonna mute your thing, and the only way you can get out is to bail yourself out. All right? Jesus, it's gonna be great. I'm going to put Zozo in jail on just about every single show. She's all over the place. Hey, thanks, Wally Gator. And thanks, Zozo, for the 85 cents. You know what I'm going to do? Every time she does that $4.49, hold on a second. I'm going to where is that thing? I'm going to do this one right here. I'm just kidding. Every single nickel makes a difference, you know, because it's all the same thing. Thank you, Ali Cake, Zozo, and Wally Gator. Oh, no, he didn't. Yes, I did. Do you see that? Okay. Yeah, I just happened to look over. You know who gave it away, though, was Jen H. She said, "We're already in trouble." So I go, "What do you mean?" And then I was like, oh, God, look at all that. So thanks, Jen H. Are you guys bailing yourself out of jail right now? Okay, you're all good. It's all good, everybody. And Dadio Caspian Horses rock. Yeah, Jen H gave it away. She tattled on all of you. Not really. I just, if I had read any other comment, I would have seen it. Well, thank you, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations, and Dadio Caspian Horses Rock. Okay, now I'm going to go on this longer thing here. Well, thanks, little Andy. That one's actually $1.49. That one's not the $1.49 converted from Canada to 89 cents. I'm sure it's more than that, but not much. Yeah, thanks heaps, Jen. Poor Jen. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to start over on the Dana Stidham, or Stidham. I'm not sure if it's Stidham or Stidham. Thanks, Lee Dobby. She was just like sunshine, according to her mother, but Dana Stidham's last days were clouded. Thanks, Fiber Salute. The Bella Vista, Arkansas woman disappeared from her Dodge Omni shortly after 3:30 p.m. on July 25, 1989. She was last seen driving the car from a supermarket, where she bought antacid for her father. Stidham's car was seen 3 hours later on US 71 within sight of the supermarket. So is that where the that's the supermarket? Or the, wow, look at, is that what that used to be then? Oh yeah, definitely. That definitely used to be a supermarket, and that means her car was seen. So her car was her car was found in the exact same place. Wait, I don't get it. Let me read that again. That's a more recent article, though. Man, that's crazier if that's real. Let's see. Stidham's car was seen 3 hours later on US 71 within sight of the supermarket. So is this... Okay, I don't think that's right. I think, let me move this over here. No, that's not right. God dang it. That's totally confusing. So that's 94 and 340 again. Shoot. Hey, thanks, Mag! And Fiber Slew. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. for being generous freaks. Yeah, let me get back to this here. She was last seen driving the car from a supermarket where she bought antacid for her father. Stidham's car was seen 3 hours later on US 71. Okay, within... So now I've lost that spot. US 71 within sight of the supermarket. The keys were inside. So I think I had it right the first time, but now I don't know where that was. Was it right there? Yeah. How was it? I remember it was like right there, right? Yeah, and there's 71. So that means... I bet you she was abducted from the supermarket. I wonder if that's the supermarket right down there. You know, it could be that one. Just right there. This doesn't look like a supermarket. I'm not sure what that probably isn't either. The only thing that looks like a supermarket's right there, so I'm pretty sure that's it. And then her car was probably, you know, somewhere just off the side. Who knows? I mean, you could see it from the supermarket. Or the store. So that makes sense now. I thought they were talking about where her body was. Then it was gone, or so state police who ran radar on the highway. Let's see. US 71 within sight of the supermarket. The keys were inside. So she probably left the keys inside. Or, you know, it's almost like somebody got in the car with her or something. Man, that's wild. Then it was gone, or so say state police who ran radar on the highway from 9 p.m. to midnight. Oh wow, that's weird. So Stidham's car was seen 3 hours later on US 71 within sight of the supermarket. The keys were inside of it. Then the car was gone. Or so say state police who ran radar on the highway from 9 p.m. to midnight. They swear the Omni was not on the side of the road at the Wellington exit. Okay, let's get that. Wellington exit. Let's see what these signs say right here. Wellington. Well, let's just see where Wellington is, and then. Huh. That's weird because that's a state. That purple line's a state. That's right on the border there. I mean, right on it. So Wellington, Missouri? Does that exist? So it's way up there. So, let me put it right here. It's pretty hazy out there. It almost looks like Oregon right now. Really bunch of snow and yeah. I guess I can't really... Let me go... There was a sign that I could see right here. Oh, there it was. shit. Well, that's kind of looks small. I don't know what exit that was, but that's kind of interesting that they say it wasn't there. Okay, then the car reappeared. A Benton County deputy driving to work saw the Omni on the highway shoulder. Behind it was a pickup truck, a 1973 to 79 three-tone. So wow, it's almost like they abducted her, drove her car, but then followed her, just like I was saying on the other one, in a pickup truck, and then brought the car back to throw off where she might be, and then, you know, got back in. The person who drove her car got back into the pickup truck. See? Then the car reappeared. A Benton County deputy driving to work saw the Omni on the highway shoulder. Behind it was a pickup truck. A man was kneeling behind Stidham's car, the deputy said, under hypnosis. What? A man was kneeling behind Stidham's car. Oh, shit. Jesus, give me a break. Okay. Nobody was kneeling behind Stidham's car. A man was... Lawrence and Georgia Stidham were frantic when they heard the news. This was Dana, outgoing, happy, friendly, someone who liked to tease someone who hadn't met anybody that didn't like her. Georgia Stidham says she was our baby. The Stidhams turned to Danny Varner for help. They had been high school classmates. Varner was now an investigator with the Benton County Sheriff's Department. I'd known Dana since she was a toddler, Varner says. I really wanted to find her. What he found, though, wasn't comforting to the Stidhams. Interviews with her friends portrayed Dana as a troubled woman. Warner learned of Dana's occasional drug use. Yeah, so then you sort of wonder, did she offer to go pick up something so mundane as Alka-Seltzer to perhaps go get a fix of some sort, right? You know, because it seems odd, like, oh yeah, I'm going to go drive away and get it, you know. So now I could see it being just something like, oh yeah, I'll go get it, because she wanted to get out of there, okay? Instead of signing up for retail classes at community college, Dana Stidham disappeared. Danny Varner kept looking for his friend's daughter. He promised to bring her home. But July began, August, and September. Warner began to lose hope. On September 16, 1989, a squirrel hunter was enjoying a bountiful Saturday, meaning he killed a bunch of squirrels. Oh my God, that's worse than the whole rest. You know, it's not. Listen. It's not, everybody. It's worse that she got killed than some squirrels, all right? I'm sorry to inform you, but whenever you come forward and get outraged by the squirrel when we're talking about the murder of somebody, it doesn't make you seem like you're woke. It makes you sound like you're an idiot, okay? On September 16, 1989, a squirrel hunter was enjoying a bountiful Saturday. He was about 2 miles east of US 71 in a wooded area used by locals as a trash dump. He found Dana Stidham's clothes, so that means it's probably somebody who knew the area, in a shallow creek bed. Her skeleton was scattered among the rocks. Baling twine was found next to the bones. The hunter waited until the next morning to call police. He saw no need to hurry. The squirrels were plentiful, and the skeleton wasn't going anywhere. Varner heard that. Let's see. So they just kept hunting. Oh my God, how dare they! Varner heard the news. He drove to Lawrence and Georgia Stidham's home and told his friends their daughter was dead. That's shitty. And then here's a story from When's this one? 2018, actually. When I see a squirrel running, all I think of is Worcestershire or ketchup. The summer after graduate... okay, that was too deadpan. I had to throw in a couple chuckles there. Anyways, I'll be back in a second. Okay, Heinz 57. All right, here we go. We're back on to the summer after graduating from Gravette High School in Gravette, Arkansas. 18-year-old Dana Stidham had a job, good friends, and was planning for her future. Her mother, Georgia Stidham, told Dateline. So this is way later, this story here. This is 30 years. About 30 years later. During the school year, Dana had been working after school and on weekends at Harp's Food Store in Bella Vista, Arkansas. In the summer of 1989, she continued to work at the store while figuring out what she wanted to do, Georgia said. She was considering studying business at university. She was our joy. She was always smiling and happy, Georgia told Dateline. She was just the kind of daughter people wish they had, and I was lucky enough to have her. That summer, Dana spent some time living with her cousin Christy Smith before moving into a different apartment with her brother Larry and a roommate in Centerton, Arkansas. Christy told Dateline she and Dana were especially close since they were only a year apart. We were together all the time, Christy said. She was really sweet, everybody liked her, and she was friends with everybody. Dana's parents lived in Hiwassee, Arkansas, a 10-minute drive from Centerton, and she visited them often. On July 25th, 1989, Dana went over to her parents' house to do some laundry, Georgia said. Georgia was at work at the time, but her husband Lawrence was at home. Lawrence, who had medical issues, was feeling ill that day, so he asked Dana if she could pick up his medicine. So that's a little different than, she asked him to do it, at Phillips Food Store in Bella Vista. Dana agreed to run out for her father and left the home to make the 4-mile drive in her gray Dodge Omni around 3 o'clock. Georgia said she got home after work around 4 p.m., the Lawrence told her Dana had not yet returned. So she got around 4. So she took off at 3 to go get the Alka-Seltzer. And then Georgia, the mother, got home at 4. And she hadn't returned yet, which would be pretty concerning since you're just getting some Alka-Seltzer. Thinking their daughter may have had car trouble, Lawrence and Georgia got into their car and drove around to find Dana. I wonder why they didn't find her car there, though. Because remember, it was there, then it, Georgia said they checked all the possible routes that Dana might have taken and did not see the car anywhere. Went to the store, and people said that she had been there and bought what she needed and left. Dana's parents, see, that's weird, because shouldn't they have been able to see her car? That's interesting. Dana's parents continued to drive around. I guess it depends on what time the car was originally spotted. Like if it was spotted right like 3:05 and then it went missing and taken somewhere, then it was driven back by, there must have been 2 people. So they might have been there just at the time when the car was gone. Thinking their daughter may have had car trouble, Lawrence and Georgia got into it. Yeah, so we already read that. Dana's parents continued to drive around but did not find their daughter. They called around to family members and Dana's friends, but no one had heard from her that day. Georgia said that this was strange behavior from Dana. She always called if she was going to be late. The rest of Dana's family became alarmed when they still had not heard from her that night. We all know she was really responsible. I don't hear any of that drug use stuff in this article. So who knows? Maybe that was just bullshit. We all know she was really responsible and she knew her dad was waiting on the medicine. So we knew something happened to her. See, that's what's so interesting is it's that kind of knowing that police need to really pick up on a missing persons case to up the urgency. They always say, well, wait a few hours, see if she should. No, you don't get it. She went to go get some Alka-Seltzer for my dad, for her father. She would never not call or something, so it's obvious at that point to them, and police need to be able to pick up on that urgency and know, okay, we got to get on this right now. But it's weird how it's always, well, why don't we wait till tomorrow? She might show up. Not always, but it's sort of this common thing that you hear family members say they heard. Let's see. Sergeant Shannon Jenkins of the Benton County Sheriff's Office told Dateline that they received a phone call from Dana's brother, Larry, at 9:15 p.m. Sergeant Jenkins said Benton County Police issued a BOLO at 9:43, so sounds like they took it seriously. At 6:30 a.m. the next day, Dana's car was found in the southbound lane of Highway 71. I think that's the side I have it on. All right. Yeah, that was 340. Yeah, it's 71. So I have it in the southbound lane. Sergeant Jenkins told Dateline the keys were still in the ignition. See, that just shows you that somebody else drove that car. Officers found a receipt from Phillips Food in the back of the car, stamped 3:17 p.m. See, that's interesting. See, that's exactly right. She goes to the store. She got there pretty quick, got the Alka-Seltzer, and that's when something happened. Her car was taken with a pickup truck following. That's why somebody saw her car there originally. But then it was gone. When the parents drove by, it was probably already gone. Then it showed up later because somebody wanted to put it back there. Christie said her family was stuck with fear for what happened to Dana after that. Dana had been very well liked. Oh, her personal belongings as well were not in the vehicle. In the weeks that followed, Dana's friends and family spent their time searching on foot and by car, handing out missing flyers of Dana. Kristen said she spent weekends driving to nearby states with her mother and her aunt, Georgia, to see if anyone had seen Dana. Search dogs were used. Hey, there you go. Where's Susanna? This is right up her alley right here. Search dogs were used in the days following Dana's disappearance. Sergeant Jenkins told Dateline. Search teams on horses were deployed to search several areas in Bella Vista. Several of Dana's personal items were found scattered in different areas of Bella Vista. Isn't that amazing? Like they're just searching around and they actually really find some of her items. Georgia said that in the days following Dana's disappearance, there were several sightings of her daughter reported, but those are all bullshit. On September 16, 1989, almost 2 months after Dana was last seen, a hunter in Benton County, Arkansas, who was having a great day hunting squirrel, everybody, who even upon finding the bodies kept hunting, or the body, kept hunting and then eventually reported. Police Arkansas came upon a shallow grave in a heavily wooded area. According to Sergeant Jenkins, skeletal remains were in the grave and Dana Stidham's clothing were found nearby. Police ruled Dana's death a homicide, but would not confirm the exact cause of death. When Georgia received the call from police that evening that Dana's body had been found, she said her only reaction was, "It just couldn't be. You just can't accept that your child is gone. It just destroys us." Sergeant Jenkins said there are several people of interest in the case and that it is still being worked as an active investigation. Interesting. Georgia has now outlived her husband and both of children. Oh, I think it's probably like her children. Dana's father passed away. It doesn't say her though. It says and both of children. Dana's father passed away 10 years after his daughter was killed. Dana's brother died in 2015. Jeez. They died never knowing what happened to Dana. Georgia dreads that outcome. "I don't want to go to my grave not knowing," she told Dateline. So it's just like that story we did earlier in the evening. If you have any information on the circumstances surrounding Dana Stidham's death, please contact the Benton County Sheriff's Office at 479-271-1008 or the Bella Vista Police Department at 479-855-3771. All right. Well, that was it for her, and now we're moving on to Kelle Workman. All right, so this is a whole nother case here. You guys ready for Kelle Workman? Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how many hunters find bodies. It's all the time. And that's why they actually, for example, in the Elizabeth and Lyric case, they actually got all the hunters together and told them, hey, when you're out hunting, keep an eye out. And I think a hunter is actually who found their bodies at one point. Yeah, mainly hunters, yeah. Frustration was because hunters are in the woods, and that's where people are putting bodies, Frustration was thick as the Sunday morning, and I'm not saying always, but hunters definitely find bodies a lot more than fishermen, and mushroom hunters find bodies, and apparently so do antler hunters. Frustration was thick as the Sunday morning fog surrounding Dogwood, Pleasant Ridge Southern Baptist Church. This one's weird to me. And this is when she's missing right here. Okay, so Kelly Ann Workman waited for word on the missing woman's whereabouts, and her name is Kelly Workman. Wait, hold on. Pleasant Ridge Southern Baptist Church, as friends and relatives of Kelly Ann Workman, waited for word on the missing woman's whereabouts. So the friends were waiting for word on her. That's this individual in the picture right here. I don't even know how clear that is for you guys. Frustration was the only constant Sunday as people gathered once again to check the woods surrounding the church on Missouri 14, a few miles east of the Douglas County, Christian County line, for signs of 24-year-old woman who disappeared Friday. And this is the church right here that this is where she was working. She was actually outside. She was in the cemetery here mowing the lawn in the cemetery. Okay, so this is 100% the spot. And I wonder if that's even the same picture that you see in one of the articles coming up. What's so sad is you never know where to start, what to do, Dogwood resident Alan Wood said as he waited with other men to learn if a search for Workman would resume. The only sign of her disappearance, and this is another 1989 story, by the way. The only sign of her disappearance was uncut grass showing Workman interrupted her customary mowing at the adjoining Dogwood Cemetery, where her grandparents and baby brother are buried. Sitting near a tombstone was the lawnmower she was using when neighbors noticed her missing shortly after 6 p.m. Friday. Although searchers... See, it's another, like, just sort of abducted, you know? Like, how did... Was she mowing and then someone said, hey, can you come over and help? And then, that boom, then abducted her? Like, somebody might have waved her down. Hey, can you come here? Yeah, waved her over. And she stopped mowing, leaves the lawnmower there, then goes over to the car, and then bam, they grab her. Although searchers who combed the thick undergrowth until early Sunday morning were willing to resume the hunt, they weren't asked to do so. Instead, Douglas County Sheriff Roland Turner used a Missouri State Highway Patrol helicopter to search as far as 15 miles away in hopes of finding a sign of Workman. Resuming a ground search after dozens of people checked as far as 5 miles from the church probably wouldn't have been productive. Yeah, that's the same one. Here's a picture right there, isn't that it? Yeah, so it looks a little different. Like you got that, and then the cross at the top, and yeah, so it's definitely it. Let's see. I'm sure someone has something. I can barely see this because it's so far away from my face. I'm sure someone has seen something where they may not have put 2 and 2 together, Turner said. Because Missouri 14 is a favorite route of people wanting to get to the area, lakes and streams, it's possible someone out of contact of news reports have seen something that would assist the investigation. Let's see. One of the last things she did before starting to mow the cemetery lawn was to buy a quart of oil for the mower with some of that change at the small country store where she works Sunday. His daughter spends most of her time cleaning house and doing yard work for neighbors. She doesn't have many friends. She's 24 years old, her father said. Kelly Workman rarely traveled outside of the rural area south of Seymour except for occasional visits to Marshall. Pam Workman said she would have known if her sister was planning to leave home. I know her. I know she'd never do anything like that, she said, and her mother, Joan, was consoled by women who shared the vigil at the church. As with virtually everyone else who met at the church Sunday, Stanley Workman said he believes his daughter was abducted. Yep. I think somebody has picked her up, he said. That's the only explanation. There ain't no way in the world she would have gone with them. Others described Kelly Workman as an athletic woman who stays to herself. Church members, Jamie Hurd, said she saw Workman early Friday and didn't notice anything unusual. The young woman was wary of strangers who stop on the highway to ask for directions. Well, that's kind of what I was just thinking, that somebody said, hey, come here, So maybe it's somebody she knew, though. If it was someone she'd had a bad feeling about, she'd have run. For church pastor Dale Ross, Sunday became a day of leading and short prayer. Okay, well, that's pretty weird. Because it seems like you would call her over and say, hey, yeah, come here, can you help me out? It's not like it'd be hard to abduct her in the middle of the cemetery, kicking and screaming, Just, look at that. That doesn't even make any sense. I'm not sure if it was fenced back then, but maybe it was. Or maybe the fence was put up after that incident because they thought she was abducted from the cemetery. Yeah, I was thinking it could have been a church member as well, especially because of what we're about to read here in a second. A body found Friday night in the Mark Twain National Forest was identified Saturday as Kelly Ann Workman. So she was found 6 days later. The body was found between 7 and 7:30 p.m. Friday, said Art Forgy, chief deputy with Christian County Sheriff's Department. The body was 6 miles east of Oldfield at the intersection of Christian County T and DD highways. There's actually 2 of that sequence. It's crazy. Near the Union Hill Baptist Church. Well, don't you find that weird a little bit? Like, why was she found next to another Baptist church? And it's way over here. Look. So here's this Baptist church, and she's found like right next to this other one. I just don't think that that's coincidental. It could have been anywhere. It's almost like the person killed her at one Baptist church, but knew that she wanted somebody from another Baptist church, the same religion, to find her. The body was found by someone who lived near the church. Authorities declined to identify the person. The body was about 10 miles from where Workman was last seen mowing the cemetery yard at the dog. This is the one that I don't know if doesn't feel as related as the other one. Mowing the cemetery yard at the Dogwood Pleasant Southern Baptist Church, 14 miles west of Ava. Christian County Sheriff Steve Whitney said an autopsy was performed at the Adams Funeral Home, Ozark, by a pathologist from Kansas City. The body was identified as Workman's by dental records. We pretty much think her body was thrown down an embankment into an old roadbed. Let's see what that looks like. I just kind of put it right there. That's the church there. I wonder if is that the old roadbed right here? This thing. Well, that's an actual roadbed. It's not a. I don't know. But anyways, it's just in this area. They don't really give you a specific enough information. So that's an actual road. That road maybe is what they're talking about. But that's the church. We pretty much think her body was thrown down an embankment into an old roadbed, Whitney said. Let me try one last thing with this. So that's 1995. Not too much, only 6 years later. Yeah, it could have just been like right there. Almost exactly where I have that. But maybe on that side. Maybe they meant to say riverbed, not road. Roadbed sounds kind of odd. Let's see. The body was badly decomposed, he said. The cause of death has not been determined, but Whitney said a pathologist report should be completed in 48 hours. She did not have any head injuries, Whitney said. Her body was x-rayed and there were no bullet holes or bullets. The body was fully clothed, he said. Whitney said the investigation into Workman's abduction and death continues. We've got several people to talk to. There are several possible people as candidates for suspects, he said. Mark Workman, Kelly's brother, said family members were told at 10 p.m. Friday that Kelly's body was found. They were told that positive identification had been made. At, let's see, at about 4:30 p.m. Saturday. We took the news with mixed emotion, he said. We were relieved she'd been found, but at the same time, to be dealt a blow like that. Mark Workman said his parents, Stanley and John Workman Seymour, were coping with the news. Although the family has not been told the cause of death, they were told that evidence indicated she died either the night of June 30th or the morning of July 1st. She was reported missing the night of June 30th. Mark Workman, 28, said his mother woke up and was hysterical at 3:40 a.m. July 1st. From that, I gather she could have died at that time. Maybe it was one of those mother-daughter things. Yeah, no, I actually believe in those kinds of crazy moments. I had something similar with my uncle. I don't know what he was, like a great uncle. He was like dying of cancer. You know, my mom was telling me about how much pain he was in, and I was like really bummed when I went to sleep because he was a cool guy, Uncle Gorman. And and then in the middle of the night, I woke up and I felt great because I knew that he'd passed away and wasn't suffering anymore. It was like 3:30 in the morning, and then I actually woke my brother up and said, "Hey, man, you know." And they said, "Oh, go to sleep." And then in the morning, I called my mom. And she said, yeah, he died last night at like 3:30. You know, it was like exactly the same time that I woke up feeling like that. So, strangely, I believe in that kind of stuff. I just don't believe in psychics. All right? Because that's not really psychic. It's just kind of a feeling that I got. Yeah, so Joan and Kelly were very close, he said, because Kelly always lived at home. A reward announced Thursday, $10,000. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one. This is 3 days later. You know, there's a lot of people mourning for her. And then 13th. Body of missing woman found in Christian County. Hey, thanks, Daddio Caspian Horses Rock. I wonder why this, let's see. Yeah, they already knew that the body was found. Why are you putting that in the title again? Clickbait? Almost exactly 1 week from the time Kellyanne Workman is believed to have been abducted from the churchyard where she was mowing grass, the investigation changed. The body of the 24-year-old Dogwood resident was found at 7 p.m. Friday evening, July 7th, in Christian County, about 7 or 8 miles from the Dogwood Cemetery. The body was found just off Highway T, about 6 miles west of Oldfield, in the edge of the Mark Twain National Forest. Wait, isn't this the other story? Huh. Mark Twain National Forest, this is it. The badly decomposed body was submerged in a pool of water from the waist down. So that does make it sound like they made a mistake when they said road bed. I think they meant river bed. And so if that's the case, it's probably... That's not really a old riverbed, though. Ah, shit, I don't know. Yeah. Positive identification was made Saturday through the use of dental records. Due to the condition of the body, a Kansas City pathologist who came to Ozark Saturday was unable to determine the cause of death. Christian County Sheriff Steve Whitney said here Monday that if the pathologist cannot determine this certain what did kill Kelly Workman, he will attempt to give more decisions on how she did not die. Funeral services for Miss Workman were held Tuesday. Well, it's obvious somebody killed her, though, right? I mean, she was mowing a cemetery, and then boom, she's gone, and then she's found way over here. Man, I wish they just... I hate the way they word stuff sometimes. It's just... Okay. And then about 8 months later, unsolved slaying haunts the family. See if there's any new information. She was 24 years old and didn't like to smile much. She was self-conscious about crooked front tooth and shy to boot, her parents say. But the lanky woman, who stood 6 foot and weighed 134 pounds, so she's really thin for 6 foot, was always willing to help people in need as long as she knew them. Her mother, Joan, calls Kelly quiet, independent, and hardworking. Kelly started mowing about 3:30 p.m. It was a 2-day job, passed from generation to generation of the Workmans, a family of dairy farmers. Kelly was meticulous about her work, clipping along the rows of headstones before using trimmers to cut the stray blades from around each marker. The rain came at 5 and Kelly went home to feed the calves while Joan and her husband, Stanley, milked cows at this has got a lot more information. Milked cows at a rented Seymour farm. The rain soaked Kelly's turquoise t-shirt. She changed into a yellow shirt and shucked the wet one into her room. By 5:40, Kelly was back at the cemetery. Her uncle saw her mowing as he drove past the lot on Missouri 14 in Douglas County. 20 minutes later, with the job not yet done, Kelly abandoned the mower by a tombstone and left the cemetery. Well, how do you know that she abandoned, like somebody... Well, let's just keep reading. Yeah, you don't know that she did abandon it there, but it could have been like somebody said something to her. I doubt she just quit mowing and then was walking away. 7 days later, and 10 miles away in Christian County, Kelly Workman was found dead. Her body was fully clothed, but so badly decomposed. See, it's weird that she was fully clothed. So what was the purpose of this? Was fully clothed, but so badly decomposed that it took dental records to identify her. How she died remains murky. Her death certificate lists homicide violence as the culprit. She wasn't shot. She wasn't raped. She was probably strangled. She may have been stabbed or strangled. She probably died in the early hours of July 1st. Joan Workman thinks she knows the exact moment at 3:40 a.m. as she sat on the living room couch and worried about Kelly with family and friends. She felt a surge of panic and pain in her chest. That's pretty crazy. That's personal paranormal right there. Hang on, Kelly. Hang on, her mind urged the daughter she lived with for 24 years, but then the feeling passed and Joan Workman was left dead inside. Well, isn't that crazy? She actually said, hang in, like for a moment she thought she was still alive, and then she felt, she just died. Nearly 11 months later, with $10,000 reward uncollected, Joan and Stanley Workman still don't know who killed their daughter. Neither do the police, and the flurry of activity that surrounded Kelle's case in the few days has dwindled to an occasional telephone call. Several things gnaw at them in the silence of their rural Douglas County home. They resent police speculating the first few hours that Kelle had run away. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Just listen to what the parents are telling you. They are angry that police didn't dust Kelle's 1986 Oldsmobile Cutlass for fingerprints. Wow. They're disappointed that tidbits of potentially valuable information, including reports of screaming women, were lost in the confusion of that first night. Douglas County Sheriff Roldan Turner is the target of much Workman criticism. While professing personal respect for the sheriff, the Workmans think he lacked adequate experience to investigate their daughter's disappearance. He had just come into office, and his deputies were new, Joan Workman says. I guess you can expect miracles. You can't expect miracles from minimum wage people. Turner's deputies actually start an annual salary at $10,750, about $5.17 an hour. Turner makes $22,000 a year. Turner had no previous paid law enforcement experience before being elected sheriff in November 1988. Let's see. The Workmans don't have similar complaints with other law enforcement agencies. So basically the rest of it's just complaining about law enforcement, which is, it sounds pretty shitty that they didn't even dust the vehicle. All right, 1995, new leads, Kelle Workman case? What a weird title that is. Well, is there or not? I mean, you're the one that knows. You wrote the article, right? New information in the Kellyanne Workman murder investigation have area lawmen retracing steps they have taken before in hopes of uncovering a bit of information necessary to solve the case. Two brothers, both of the Dogwood community where Kelle Workman lived and where she was last seen alive, have been considered suspects in the case since the night Workman disappeared while mowing a church cemetery in the neighborhood where she lived. But officers now have some new information that could connect the brothers to the case. See, that kind of fits in, right? Somebody she knew. Douglas County Sheriff Roldan Turner said the Workman case has never been closed, but the new information gives authorities reason to concentrate more on the 6-year cold case. A week after Workman disappeared from the cemetery in Douglas County, her body was found in Christian County. For that reason, the two counties have worked together in seeking information in the case. An ex-girlfriend of one of the Dogwood area suspects recently told police that one of the brothers sought an alibi for the night Workman disappeared. Well, that's interesting. So a girlfriend of one of the suspects, but an ex-girlfriend now willing to talk, but not while they were dating. He said one of them needed an alibi. One of the brothers took a polygraph test a couple of weeks ago and failed it, according to reports, but the other brother passed the polygraph in 1990. Hey, thanks, Cindy Lean. Or Leanne. Which one? Now I can't remember. Is it the second one or the first one? But thank you. Yeah, well, I'm glad that you can't... okay, Leanne. Yeah, so it's good to... thank you. Yeah, you can trust a girlfriend. How about just don't kill somebody? You need an alibi. Yeah. One of the brothers took a polygraph test a couple of weeks ago and failed it, according to reports, but the other brother passed the polygraph in 1990. The brothers admit to seeing Kelle Workman on the afternoon that she disappeared, but claimed to have solid alibis for the time frame during which she's believed to have disappeared. I think they need to really... they need to bring waterboarding back. No charges have been filed against the men in connection with the Workman case, and for that reason, their names are not being published. Oh boy. Well, how come you had their name then? So this is 1999 now. Investigators will search for answers in the 1989 death of Kellyanne Workman. Nearly 10 years after Kellyanne Workman was killed, answers to the mysterious Christian County slaying may lie in a Missouri Highway Patrol crime lab. Investigators served search warrants last week against two men in hopes... See, here's those two people again, the brothers. In hopes of finding DNA evidence that will link Workman to her killers. Christian County Prosecutor Susan Spence said Thursday. Spence said she reopened the investigation recently after new information came to light. Spence would not disclose the information, but questions about the Workman case were frequently raised while she campaigned for prosecutor last year. I believe it needed to be looked into. There are suspects that needed to be looked at. DNA testing has to be done to include or exclude certain people. So that means they have DNA from who they think might, hopefully they still have a little bit of this. Because every time you do testing, you lose it. Workman's body was found in Christian County about a week after she vanished while mowing in a Douglas County cemetery. June 30th marks the 10th anniversary of the crime. DNA evidence is better than fingerprint if we can just connect it to the right people, Workman added. Spence would not provide particular on the two men whose DNA samples were taken. Let's see. But one of them told Newsleader 4 years ago that he's been a suspect since the beginning. So one of the brothers. But probably the one that wanted the alibi. So the one that passed actually was innocent. Although maybe he'd be a suspect on specific questions relating to the brother. Neither man is named since they have been charged in the killing. Since they're not charged in the killing. Neither could be reached for comment Thursday. Spence described the two as acquaintances. One of the men told Newsleader, it's blurred out right there. Workman a few hours before he died, so one of the brothers. She was working at General Store in Dogwood, just across the highway from the cemetery, he recalled. A highway patrol trooper stopped the man later that night. He was questioned about Workman's whereabouts, but was not taken into custody. Investigators long involved in the case could not be reached for comment Thursday. And while Spence could not say when the test results will come back, they could have a bearing on whether charges are filed. Man, well, if they've got a DNA sample, they need to be doing something with it. Like genealogy, Man, have you guys all fallen asleep? I mean, looks like there's 304 people watching. Hit that like button, damn it.
I'm fired out of it now.
Hit the like button, 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 20, 25, 30, 45, 40, 45, 50, hit the like button, 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 hit the like button. Now listen, if you don't want to hit the like button, hit the dislike button. But for God's sakes, hit something. All right. Joan often calls her 9-year-old granddaughter Ashley, but let's see. He believes DNA evidence has been refined over the years, and generally speaking, yes. Right. So, if you guys have DNA, let's get to work on it. Test results of little help in murder case. So here's the 2 months after issuing search warrants for DNA evidence from two suspects in the 10-year-old murder of Kellyanne Workman, Christian County Prosecutor Susan Spence said the results have so far been inconclusive. We'll do it again. Spence said Tuesday that test results, here I think they meant to say, Oh, test results in her office. Wait. That test results her office. Oh, her office has received. Okay. Don't. I don't know why I couldn't read that. Don't conclusively exclude or include either of the two suspects. She would not say whether the test results she received were for DNA or other tests. Spence said the two men, who are not named because they have not been charged, have not been ruled out, but certainly aren't stronger suspects. Workman's body was found in Christian County a week after she vanished. Okay. And I think there was one last article here that... When was this? This is 2013. Could catching the man or men who committed the 1989 unsolved murder of Kellyanne Workman finally be brought to justice? If Professor Michael Bowersock's forensic class, this is about a class, and they talk about using DNA, I think. Or maybe not. I thought they did. Well, I guess they got access in this class to a ton of the information, and they thought maybe they could help out. Be interesting to call over there and say, hey, do you guys still have DNA? Do you guys have the funding? Well, we'd like to, and then send it over to Identifinders with Colleen Fitzpatrick. And she's really good at using minimal DNA to get an answer. All right. Now there's one final one here. It's got less information. But here is the... Well, hold on. Let me see. Let me start with this one. So this is 1991. And this is a Jane Doe that they have, but it's kind of like the other ones. They just don't have the history. Someone somewhere is missing her. She could be as young as 20 or as old as 30. Light brown hair, average height, average weight. She was wearing Lee blue jeans with rolled up cuffs, a denim jacket with no brand name, a faded yellow t-shirt, size 7.5, tennis shoes. She had a great dentist. See, that's what's always weird. When you have a great dentist, that means you were taken care of. You had parents that gave a shit. And then all of a sudden, nobody knows who you are. It is that last fact that frustrates Mcdonald County Sheriff Lou Keeling. Doe had extensive dental work, which means the evidence to prove her identity exists. It's just a matter of finding her dentist. See, doesn't it seem like I was always telling you guys there should have been some nationwide faxing system of all dental offices? I know there's a lot of them. But you send it out, and then you try to see, send an x-ray image, and maybe a dentist will go, oh yeah, I know who that is. But man, think about it. They have like 1,000 people that they are dentists to. So they would require them to go through, or maybe I don't know, man. Maybe there's just got to be a database of some sort. It's that fact that frustrates Mcdonald County Lou Keeling. She had extensive dental work, which means the evidence to prove her identity exists. It's just a matter of finding her dentist. Unfortunately, it's a big country, Keeling says. 118 missing people in Missouri fit Doe's general profile. 25 of those cases. See, listen to all those. You hear that? 118 missing people. Well, my God. I mean, did you find them later, or are those just other dead people? It's just bizarre. Keeling and his investigators, aided by the Missouri State Highway Patrol, have sifted through the missing persons cases, hoping to match dental records with Doe's. So far, no luck. Luck has been in short supply during Keeling's investigation. Doe probably died around Halloween. She was first found in early last November. 2 children playing in the weeds in front of an abandoned house saw the body. I couldn't find that find. and told her parents. No one believes that. Nobody believed that. A month later, two children playing in the weeds in front of an abandoned house saw the body and told their parents. But the parents didn't believe them. What a joke. Jesus. A month later, a couple walking past the small house smelled something foul and spied a skull. They called police. This time someone believed. Hey, parents that didn't believe, you're idiots, okay? What dumbasses. God, that could have been a lot more forensic information. Doe wasn't wearing underwear. Police didn't find any identification on or near the body. She may have been a hitchhiker. Keeling says a witness saw a woman matching Doe's general description. The woman was hitchhiking north on US 71 at the Missouri. But how would you know that, though? Because if she died, I mean, by the time you told somebody, you think somebody 2 months later, oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, I don't know. It seems like people just insert themselves a lot of times. Although, there's US 71 again, right? She probably lived a fairly comfortable early life. Keeling says her dental work wasn't cheap. That's about all they know today. She could be from anywhere, says Tom. You know what they should have is, you need to, when you put in any sort of dental work that is hardware, you need to have a serial number of the dentist who did it on there. Really small, but it's part of when you order it. The manufacturers have to put your serial number on it, and then if you somehow somebody stumbles upon your body, they'll be able to track it down, or just even any time. I don't think so. Let's see. Okay. We are at the point now where technology made the world so small that... I know. Well, it should be. Doe's general description: the woman was hitchhiking north on US 71 at Missouri-Arkansas line. That was that witness. She probably lived a fairly comfortable early... Yeah, I mean, I think there might be serial numbers on something, but it'd be cool if it went right back to the dentist. Although I guess you could check with the manufacturer, and they'd say, oh yeah, that was sent over here. She could be from anywhere. Yep. So this is that same article again that those other cases were mentioned in. But there's a portion. Right, it starts right here. That's so blurry. Look at that. I think I can almost read this. Workman for a week. McDonald County Jane Doe could fit that same profile, but police first have to identify her. That's easier said than done. When police entered information about Doe into a national crime computer, they found 118 missing women. I wonder, did I already read this? No, I don't think so. Police say there is also this fact to consider: if the serial slayer is roaming the Ozarks, getting away with killing would come easily. From Springfield, it's a relatively short jaunt to Kansas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. A serial killer would have no problem hopscotching from state to state, especially given the closeness of interstates and major U.S. highways. In theory, police agencies ignore state lines and work together trading information. In practice, that rarely happens. Reasons for breakdown in communication vary. And look, it even mentions Dana Stidham right here. Yeah, so everybody's mentioned here. So I'm going to go right to they keep associating a lot of these different cases back and forth. But look, like you can actually see her shoes right here. See, this is the the Jane Doe here. And that's her shoes. And look at that. I'm not sure what this is, but is that bindings that were... Is that bone right there or something? And that was her hands tied behind her back? I mean, there's knots and shit right there. Yeah, there it is. The victim's decomposed, bound remains were found in some weeds in a remote area by an abandoned farmhouse on Oscar Talley Road, midway between Lanigan and Pineville, Missouri. Let's see, Oscar Talley Road. Yeah, so it's not a very big road, so somewhere around in this area. But again, see how it's near a freeway? Like everybody, it's just so much stuff is right along this 71 right here. You know, they probably took 71, cut across at some point. You know, hell, maybe took this exit and then drove around like that, dumped her body, and then came back around. Yeah, let me get back to the website. Yeah, that's not it. So that's what they think she looked like. That's basically what she was wearing. Jean jacket, white undershirt, jeans. I guess they call her Grace Doe. What happened to that image that was just there, though? That completely changed. Oh, there it is. So that's actually probably bone or something right there. That's crazy. So she was found December 2nd, died maybe around October 31st, so about a month. White, possibly mixed with Native American. 5'1", 5'4", 120 pounds. Available dental x-rays and dental models. And her photographs available. Well cared. Orthodontist. Patient. Man, God. See, the problem is now it would be hard to find that. Now it would be hard to find the match. But had this happened now, it'd be probably a lot easier given the technology. The victim's decomposed bound remains were found in some weeds in a remote area. She was hogtied with 6 different types of material. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Nylon rope, lead rope, coaxial cable, telephone cable, parachute cord, and clothesline. I mean, she wasn't going to get out. The parachute cord is believed to have been military issued because it was not commercially available in 1990. Because of the way she was bound, both hands behind the back and tied to one leg with a shoelace, it is believed that she was also raped. A single blonde hair not belonging to the victim was found on the body. Investigators believe the victim may have been murdered at, well, hell, they still have that hair. They can do DNA now on that without even the little skin sack at the bottom. Been murdered, I can't remember what it's called. So watch, 10 of you will type it in. Oh, it's called this, it's called this, it's called this, it's called it. Look it. Here we go. The parachute cord is believed to have been military. Both hands behind the back and tied to one leg. Body was found based on a witness statement that she heard a woman scream and that approximately on Halloween night about the same time the victim is believed to have died. That's right, the root. There you go. That's all I needed. So that's it, everybody. All right. Crazy times out there. Crazy times. But all 5 of those are basically 1989, early 1990. In the same area. I mean, I think all of these are the ones we just did. Like this whole thing right here. All these white or yellow pins, I mean, were all from the last couple days. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out and paying attention. You don't have to even pay attention. I just flip you guys shit now. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. I'll just send you to jail. So thank you, Zozo, Swerbs, Lee Dobby, Claudia Neubauer, Allie Cake, Zozo, Mysterious Monkey, Carolina T, Little Andy, Miss Skiss, Billy Boy Blue, he needed the money, Rebecca N, Michelle Nicholas, Lisa Irwin, Kubi, as in Kubicek, Mike S, and Jamie McLaughlin with the cat eye donation. And everybody keep praying for Jamie McLaughlin's kid, who I guess was paralyzed. So, and then Dana Dane became a member. Wally Gator, Lee Dobby, Wally Gator, Zozo, Allie Cake, Miss Skiss, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molda Howe, of the cattle mutilations. And it's actually Miss Skiss. There you go. Dottie O, Caspian Horses Rock, Little Andy, Lee Dobby, Fiber Sleuth, Mag, Zozo, Allie Cake, Dottie O, Caspian Horses Rock, and Cindy Leanne. Man, that's tough. So I hope you guys found those interesting stories today, because I did. There's just something that feels similar sometimes about them, and some seem a little different. Like the church one feels different than the others, in my opinion. There we go. Yeah, so everybody make sure that you do the... Well, I feel about the same as I have been. I'm getting used to it though, you know, like I don't have... My neck doesn't sting as much from the scar, so that's a benefit. But, you know, the improvement of the movement of my arm is so slow. It just sucks, you know. It's like 0.5% a day. I just want to go wake up in 40 days and go, oh, look, I'm 20% better. Although it probably would be backwards since I wouldn't be moving it. Well, cool, Mike. Glad you thought those were interesting. All right. Well, let's see. I guess you guys make sure. Here, what I'll do is I'm just laying back right now. Yeah. So make sure that you guys do your hand sanitizer, maintain social distancing, wear your mask whenever you go outside. See, that's the thing, everybody. If everybody in the country wore a mask for like a month, the virus would almost be gone. I mean, it would just be, you know, and you maintain your social distancing. But unfortunately, people don't do that. You know, like, so here's the thing is, if there's one person not wearing their mask with a room of 30 people with 29 wearing masks, not N95, but, you know, just a face covering, it's as if they all didn't have them on. So you're sort of ruining it for everybody else. All right. Okay, so that's it. That's the soapbox for the night there. And thank you guys very much for supporting the channel. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the flyby. Okay, as I switch screens here so you can see what the hell I'm looking at.
Wow, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at.
Wow. I see what you're saying, Mary. I see what you're saying, Mary.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? Whoa, what's that? What's that? What, the earth disappeared right there. I packed my bags last night to flight. 0 hour 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high. Alright, yay, that was so cool, that was so cool. One of the greatest shows of history, mankind, especially the boy with a guy.
Oh my god. Did you hear that? Did everybody out there hear how Mary Lou pretended that was the greatest show in the history of mankind?
Well, gosh, I was just trying to be positive. Oh, God. How can you just never nice, ever?
I don't know. I think it's just the way you sound. But, you can't help it, alright? So good night, Mary Lou.
Good night, John boy. God. You're so mean. I'm gonna get you, though. I'm gonna get you.
Wow, psycho.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. One of these days, you just never know. Mary Lou might actually freak out. You just never know. You just never know. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for showing up tonight. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.